Hello. I nearly splashed my eye. Hi everyone. Hey Kaiwan. Hey De Havilland. Hey SLJ. What is going on? There we go. Happy Sunday, y'all. Sorry I'm a bit late. Ooh. Well, not quite happy 4th of July yet. You forgot that I'm in Canada, so tomorrow is Canada Day first. I don't think I have any other Canadians on here, but y'all can wish me a happy Canada Day, I guess, if you want. And then I think, when does the 4th land on? Thursday, right? Yeah, so the 4th is Thursday. We'll check in Wednesday, and I'll wish you a happy 4th then. But yeah, hey everybody. Hope all is well. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I've worked through most of mine, so yeah, this has been my only day off, and I use that to make my notes for GH, and also launched promo for my concert that's happening at the end of August. So still a little ways away, but I'm excited for it. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Thank you to Havilland. Oh man. But yeah. What's up everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. It was a big week for GH, mostly behind the scenes. As you guys know, Jonathan Jackson announced he's coming back to General Hospital, and it was announced that Michael Easton is leaving GH, and it's probably because of Jonathan Jackson coming back, honestly. But yeah, it was Michael Easton's final week, I guess, and he shot his last scenes, and I think we've seen them already. So that's that on that. Is Canadian football big in Canada? I wouldn't say it's as big as it is in the States. It's definitely a thing here. I don't follow it too much. In all honesty, Edmonton's team kind of sucks right now, so there's not as much, hoopla as there is in the States when it comes to football. Hockey is our thing, and obviously last week was a bit chaotic for us. I don't know if you guys watched the Stanley Cup. It was actually my town's team, Edmonton Oilers, against Florida Panthers. We lost, sadly. Would have been nice if we won, because it would have been pandemonium here. And honestly, it's been chaos in the city, all the games that happened, because it was like 7 games. You know, Florida lost 3. Or no, Florida won 3, then Oilers won 3, and then the tiebreaker, Florida won that. But yeah, it's been crazy. And thank you, SLJ. So yeah, hockey is the thing in Canada. There's not as much craziness about the football. Oh man. But yeah, should we just dive right into it? I mean, I don't have much else to say. If you guys want to share any like cool happenings in your personal lives, let me know. Other than that, you said you heard from ABC Soaps that Frisco's coming back. Is that true? If it's true, it's news to me. This is the first time hearing about it. It's been a crazy week. Oh, I bet. Where was Finn Michael Easton fans during the Free Liz campaigns? Absent. Is that a thing right now too? It is what it is. It is what it is. I wish Michael Easton well. He did an incredible job with this story. Truthfully, Angel, I didn't know Stanley Cup was a thing for soccer. As you can tell, I'm not clearly super into sports, but it is what it is. I gotta go to your dentist on Tuesday. Fun times. Yeah, no, I just worked all week. It was pretty uneventful beyond that. Didn't do anything all that exciting. Last weekend was the excitement with the show, but after that, it's just work. And it's summertime now, so work is just always busy. And yeah, although I will say that on this Friday, I'm going to see Sporty Spice from the Spice Girls play a DJ set about 3 hours away from here. Oh, man. Now there's an outpouring of fans wanting Michael Easton to stay. Yeah, it's funny how when they give Finn good material that people actually can see that he can be a compelling character. Obviously, it's no fault of his own. But, you know, like, Michael Easton brought his A game for this final story. And, well, he got his flowers in terms of, like, getting material that people will love him for. It's just unfortunate that it happened at the end of his tenure. And I don't know, I'm basing this off of Maurice Benard's his podcast with Michael that he posted today. But I get the feeling that maybe Michael Easton didn't know that he was getting the boot until his last day. Just because he didn't mention it, and I feel like perhaps he would have if he knew for sure. Especially if he knew that this interview wasn't going to air until like long after, or, you know, after he is off the show. So it's just interesting. He said on the other lives this week that Michael Easton with the main character on One Life to Live, and when he went to General Hospital. Oh, you're renewing your wedding vows. Congratulations. That's wicked. Congrats to Havlin. Alright, well, I guess we'll get into the show. We're going to save the Finn stuff for last, because obviously I think that's going to take up a lot of the bulk of our conversation, and kind of what we mostly want to talk about, I'd say. So we'll get the other stuff out of the way. Most of it wasn't uninteresting, which is great. Like it wasn't like a crazy exciting week, but things happened, and most of them were at least worth talking about. So, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Ava first, actually. Ava, she had a pretty rough week in Port Charles, but it's kind of well deserved at this point. Y'all know Christina, Blaze, Natalia, and Sonny, they were all having dinner at Pizzulo's, and you know, because Christina's forgiven her father completely, just a complete 180. She loves him. She's getting him gifts. They're having dinner together again. We're back where we started with her. So it felt like all these weeks of like the buildup of Christina not seeing Sonny for who he really was for nothing. But maybe it's just like the transition of the new writers. Sorry, I just realized that I'm in Top Chat, not live chat. So if I missed some of your comments before, I'm sorry. There we go. Yeah, I definitely missed some. Hi, Allison. Didn't see you there because I was in top. I'm sorry. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Back to it, though. Okay, so, like I said, Christina, Blaze, Natalia, and Sonny were having dinner at Pizzulo's. Ava shows up and tries to invite herself to the dinner, and Christina stands up to it and says, hell no. And she explains to Sonny and the group that Ava was the reason why Alexis got disbarred, and Sonny just asks Ava to leave, and she does. And then the next time Sonny and Ava run into each other is at the penthouse, and Sonny gives Ava the boot and just basically says, you need to get out. And then she has no choice but to move into the Metro Court. So that happened, and I was actually kind of shocked by that. Oh, and also Avery will be staying with Sonny as well. And then The next day, Trina stops by Sonny's penthouse because Ava forgot some of her paperwork from the art gallery, and he asks her to deliver a message. Just that he basically just implies that he's going to go for full custody of Avery. And she brings that message to Ava. And Ava was truly seeing red in that moment. So much so that it made Trina feel compelled to think that Ava's capable of anything. Which, I don't know how I feel about that. It kind of feels like they're throwing Ava and Trina's mother-daughter type relationship under the bus. Which sucks, considering how Trina, at this point, is basically a backburned character. She's been backburned to oblivion. Right now she's just the second banana to Jocelyn and the third wheel to Jocelyn and Gio's friendship, as well as Jocelyn and Dex's potential relationship rekindling. And she has no point of view. It's sad and embarrassing that Trina has basically become a glorified extra on the show. And I know that there are Tabiana fans that probably feel the same way as well right now, considering how much she was utilized and what for when Spencer was around, and it almost feels like they're tiptoeing around the idea of Gio and Trina. I don't know if that has to do with Sprina, but at this point I wouldn't hate if she had a new love interest and that it wasn't being taken over by Jocelyn, just being in his life all the time. All right. Oh, Allison, you were saying it's weird now you can't tell Sonny's off his meds most days. Yeah, it's almost, I feel like we are now in the transitional phase of getting between Elizabeth and Patrick's writing and going into Elizabeth and Chris's writing. Because it feels like they're sort of backtracking on certain things. Like I mentioned before, Christina suddenly did a 180 again after all the buildup of her wearing rose-colored glasses with her father. She has this big fallout seeing him beat Dex to a pulp. She's terrified of him, and then it takes one visit from him to have her go back to dinner with him, give him presents, and just be happy-go-lucky. So, I don't know. I mean, there's part of me that's like, well, we know that Sonny's not usually as volatile as he has been due to his lack of medication. But, it's still a story that's currently ongoing, and they're still utilizing it, so I don't know. I just don't know. Turning Trina into not her own character. She's always got a special relationship with Ava. She's always calm Ava down. Yeah. Angel, you said they're making it seem like Trina doesn't know Ava's past as a mob enforcer. I'm sure she does. Obviously Jocelyn and Trina might have had to discuss it at some point. Angel, you said, oh, the Trina fans are upset using the photo of Trina standing in the background with her hands on her hips. Oh, social media. Kaiwan, you said at least have Trina have feelings for Dex. I wouldn't hate that because it seems like Tabiana and Evan get along really well in real life, and they probably show some chemistry on screen. So I don't know. How do I feel on this? I wouldn't hate if they decide to shake things up and have maybe Jocelyn develop feelings for Gio, even though Trina kind of has feelings for Gio, and then Trina having feelings for Dex, but Jocelyn kind of having feelings about Dex. I don't know, and just have it be a mess and then have them be with those people. Joss can be with Gio, and Trina can be with Dex, and it'll be something new. Because personally, I didn't care much about Jocelyn and Dex. We can't have Trina and Spencer. So I feel like in terms of character potential, like Trina and Dex probably have more potential at this point than Trina and Gio, because we don't know anything about Gio beyond the fact that he likes Sonny and that he plays the violin and that his parents died. Like, there's just, we know nothing about what, like, if the character has any quirks, if he's, I don't know, if he's hiding any secrets, who he is as a person beyond an artist. We just don't know. What else are you guys saying? Who is the main writer of the show exactly? It is Elizabeth Corte. So it was, okay, originally it was Elizabeth Corte and Patrick Mulcahy. And Patrick got fired, and then it became Elizabeth. It seemed like it was going to be her on her own, except at the Emmys red carpet, Ali Mills let it slip out that Chris was the head writer again. So it's Chris and Elizabeth that are the new team. Which I don't have too many good feelings about. You got a writer who was already fired being brought back, and a writer who is half responsible for the mess that we are in currently. Although I will say that I feel pretty confident that most of that was Patrick's doing. Because in my heart of hearts, I have to believe that Elizabeth has been on the show long enough to know that all the ways that the characters had been written didn't make any sense the last few months. Davlin, you said, I can't wait for Ava to use that recording of Natalia's mother talking about gay people. So, yeah, I want that to happen. I just don't know if it will now. I hope it does. I hope it doesn't get dropped. Angel, you said Dex and Trina would be good soapy goodness, but Dex is riding Joss's butt. Well, hopefully she does something that turns him off, and then he can hop on Trina's. The one making the main storyline. Well, I think the transitional, it's really probably mostly Elizabeth at this point, because I feel like Chris was probably promoted again a couple weeks after Patrick got let go, so there's probably like a gap period where it's just going to be Elizabeth, and then it'll be into Elizabeth and Chris, but not much of a gap period, honestly. Alright, now where was I though? But yeah, one more thing about Trina though. If these writers don't get their act together with Trina, because again, I feel like she's the glorified extra at this point, I hope the Gates gives her a call so that she isn't wasted like she's being wasted on the show right now. But that's my 2 cents on that. But yeah, anyway, so Ava got wind that Sonny might go for full custody of Avery, so she calls Scott for legal advice. And he suggests that she gets some character witnesses to speak against Sonny. And Ava decides to recruit the mayor of Port Charles herself, Laura Collins. Of course, she manipulates Laura, leaves out the reason why he threw her out of his penthouse. Really puts emphasis on the fact that he's been acting unstable for a while now. Something that she, by the way, if you guys don't remember, she could have prevented because she knows his meds have been messed with. So she knows why he's acting unhinged. And then she also lets it slip that Sonny beat someone to a pulp at Brooklyn and Chase's wedding. She didn't reveal who it was, but she just let Laura know that it happened. So yeah, and then she also kind of plays the family card in the sense that Laura did see Ava like family because she was in love with Nicholas, and she knows that Ava still cares about Nicholas. So Ava's using that to her advantage, and Laura ends up agreeing to be a character witness for Ava should this go to trial. It might not, but I think it could potentially. Studio is dark for July. Well, all right. All right. I'm gonna need the writers to get Laura to have a brain though, because just the way they have Laura acting lately, she's just so, you know, it's so over her head, everything lately. What does Frank Valentini do? He's the executive producer. He's not a writer. He's the producer. He gets a say on essentially who gets the leading stories and who the main focuses are, which might be GH's problem as well, but yeah, Frank Valentini is not a writer. He's just a producer. I say just like it's not a big deal, but he's not saying what the story should be. He's just saying who he wants to be on the front burner, essentially, and making sure the show looks to his liking. But yeah, let's move on. Let's get back to the topic of Christina a little bit, because we did talk about her. This girl, for whatever reason, is so certain that Molly and TJ aren't going to last because of their one little fight. Which the fight about Christina being the surrogate. And she is preparing to fight for custody should their relationship go south and end permanently. Which is funny because Molly and TJ, they kind of made up. They had a good conversation. They talked it out. They got over it. They started making love. But Christina thinks that the one little fight... Hey, Sandy. Christina thinks that the one little fight is going to ruin them. So, I don't know. TJ and Molly are thinking about their future again and seem to be on good standing again. But in terms of what Christina is thinking mentally, it seems like the show is kind of leaving Christina's mind frame up to interpretation. Hey, Nathan. You say, hey, Heather is manipulating Laura too. Potentially. Like, she's just, I don't know. Laura is usually smart enough to at least have her guard up. Even if she's wrong, she usually has her guard up. And she seems to be having her guard down with people like Heather and Ava. And, you know, there's no proof that Heather isn't sincere in how she's feeling. But whether what Heather is saying she feels is true or not, Laura should have her guard up. Even if it ends up being true, she can at least be like, well, at least I did this until I was sure. Allison, you said, I think Christina wants the baby and is using the breakup as an excuse. Come on, you're saying this is so nonsensical and they don't want to make anybody the bad guy in this story. Angel, you said, Christina is living up to Molly's worst fear. Christina is a flake, like she's flaking on her LGBTQ shelter. You know, yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, here's the thing. Like, we can ask all these questions. Is Christina too attached to the baby and wants to keep the baby for herself, or is she actually thinking about keeping the baby in the family for Molly's sake? That's the part that's being left up to interpretation. She's saying the words I want to hear, but there's just something in the way that the scenes play out that makes me think that she might be lying to herself. I hope genuinely that I'm wrong. And that it is because she wants to make sure that the baby ends up with Molly, even if TJ and Molly break up, because she knows Molly doesn't have no legal standing with that. But I don't know. They're sort of balancing the tightrope right now, and it could go either way. I hope that it is a story where Christina proves everyone wrong and that she is capable of doing this, you know, this genuine nice thing for Molly. But I think the tell will be once Christina sees that Molly and TJ are good and see how she reacts to that. So that, I'm sure, will happen soon. Hard to say, Kaiwan. Hard to say. But yeah. This story with Christina has the potential to be messy. Like, messy. Angel, you said she's forgetting that TJ is the bio father. He's going to fight for his kids. TJ is more secure than Christina in court. Most likely. Yeah, Yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out. But yeah, hella messy, guys. Hella messy story. Speaking of messy, though, let's talk about this utter mess that is Pikeman. This story that's been basically flipped over several times because of not one but two writers' changes now. Frank Valentini, then he has something to do with One Life to Live. Frank Valentini was One Life to Live's producer. Alright, but yeah, let's talk about the Pikeman stuff. As you guys know, Carly found out from Sam that Jason is working for the FBI in order to protect Carly from RICO charges, and she's clearly very torn over it. Jagger John showed up to Carly's office later with champagne to thank her for the time that she took care of him in his hotel suite, and to celebrate that his case seems to be almost wrapped up. Carly keeps her poker face going, but you know, you can tell that she's seeing red the whole time. We can tell. John can't tell. After Jagger leaves, though, Spinelli shows up, trying to convince her that she has to sit there and do nothing, in terms of Jason working for the FBI. But you know Carly, she wants to do anything in her power to get Jason out of the thumb of the FBI. So the next day, she pays Jack, formerly known as John, until Jagger showed up to be called John Brennan, Jack Brennan, and asks for his insight. Given his past working for a similar agency, he would have a little insight on that. Was it stupid of her to do that, given that he's not exactly trustworthy? Honestly, possibly, but I do believe that Jack gave her genuine insight when it comes to the FBI. He's probably bang on about. You know, she asks him if he thinks the FBI will honor the deal that they made with Jason and let him go once they solve this case. And Jack is like, hell no. And he's probably right, because yeah, he can do this, but as long as Jason is an asset to them, they could use him for future stuff, and all they would have to do is bring up Carly again. So, you know, I think there's some truth to that, and I think that will inevitably be what happens. And then what would happen from that point is anyone's guess. By the way, as just a side note, Sam told Dante about what the FBI had on Jason and how she obtained that information, which essentially turns Dante into an accomplice by not saying anything should she get caught, should she and Spinelli get caught. You know, it puts him in a similar position that Sonny almost did, and that Dante had to kind of cut ties with Sonny for, and Sam's pulling the same shit. Angel, you said Sam is forgetting that Jason got her out of prison after her last trying to save grown people from their problems. Yep. It's true. Nathan, you said, I'm surprised Carly didn't tell Jason about the meeting with Brennan and seeing Jagger. Jason would have lost it in the end. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time that Carly was talking to Spinelli, Jason, who is having to rely on Anna at this point to get what she needs from Valentine, this poor man had to basically stay outside of Valentine's house all night because Valentine and Anna were doing the dirty. She slept with him and, you know, woke up the next day. Jason just stayed there all night, sort of doing surveillance, I guess. And I don't know how I feel about Anna sleeping with Valentine. I really don't. I never liked them as a couple to begin with, first of all. But given what he's done to screw her over, like basically trying to frame her for the Pikeman stuff, like it kind of made me cringe. it's just sad to. It's just hard to watch. And then basically the only thing that Anna managed to find from her entire night with Valentine was that this man had a burner phone, and she couldn't, take it because he would notice, obviously, and know who took it. It's interesting. The thing that I remember myself thinking this week, especially in the scenes pertaining to Valentine and Anna in particular, was surely Valentine is on to her. Like, he's no dummy. It just feels... It feels weird that he doesn't seem to be. Like, we don't see him having any of these fake out conversations. We don't see him looking too worried. I don't know. Am I mad that they're dumbing down Valentine? I don't know. I want Valentine to lose. I do. I've wanted him to lose since he got on this damn show under James Patrick Stewart. Not to hate on the actor that plays him. It's literally just the ways that they ruined who the character was glorified to be before he came on for years. It was like a decade-long thing, almost. It just... I don't know. I want Valentine to be a villain, and I want him to be taken down. I don't want no morally gray Valentine. Anna's so unhelpful. Valentine is playing Anna, not the other way around. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. But yeah, anyway. Obviously, with Anna getting next to nowhere, Jason has some time on his hands. So he decides to take his bike to the garage and get it all oiled up. And he spends time with Danny doing that. I guess their original plan was to go to, I think, the gym. And the gym was closed for some reason. And, yeah, they just had like a bonding sesh, Sam wasn't too pleased with it, but it is what it is. And, Sam also talked to Dante about how Jason put Carly first, and that if Danny were to find out, it would destroy him. And I'm here like, Sam, you have been like, I don't know, on a hard line to trying to get Danny away from Jason. And now you have even more reason to, but now you're suddenly like, well, I don't want him to... find out that his father... What? Like, what? Where are we with Sam? I don't get it. Does Sam want Danny to have a relationship with Jason or not? Because it feels like we've heard her for weeks saying not. And now that she has actual legitimate incentive to want Danny away from Jason, now she's like, well... Don't want him to think badly of him. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. That is what you've been telling us for weeks. Yeah. It's a mess. Nathan, you said Sam's a hypocrite with that conversation with Dante. She can't even think straight with Jason back in town. Yeah, that's what it feels like. She's a hot mess. Even Dante was confused. Yeah. Ugh. It don't make no sense. Where was I in my notes, though? Oh, yeah. So, Carly, at this point, she calls up Diane to explain the situation and runs through her options. And she's willing to turn herself in for this crime so Jason can go free. Even if Carly only has, apparently, a 30% chance of winning this case itself. Jason shows up, and Carly tells him that she knows why he's working for the FBI and explains what she's willing to do. And Jason kind of blows up at Carly, saying that if she does, then all this time away from everyone would have been for nothing. And they just keep going back and forth on what the right thing to do is, and neither of them can really agree on it. Honestly, this story just kind of makes me feel gross. It makes me feel gross because Jason really is putting Carly above his own kids. It would be one thing if it was like not really his kids or something, or if they're trying not to cater too hard to a particular fan base, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know. This is just painting Jason to be a shit dad and a shit partner. Like it just makes Jason look bad. That's my opinion. Havlin, you said your opinion is General Hospital is going down. Yeah, it's in a spiral right now. I don't know. I want it to succeed, obviously, but it's a mess, and I get why it's a mess. We're transitioning through writers for a second time in a matter of a few months. So it's going to be messy for a bit, but I want GH to find its footing again. All right, though. Let's talk about Finn, because this is kind of like the last main topic, and I feel like a lot of people have a lot of things to say about the situation. So when we last left off last week, Tracy had just woken up Finn from his drunken slumber, and now he is demanding to know where his daughter is, and she explains to him what Violet walked in on and what Violet thought she walked in on, and she let him know that in no uncertain terms that he will not be getting his daughter back until he goes to rehab. He was furious, of course, and yells at her and the whole 9 years that he's been doing with everyone else he cares about. But Tracy's no pushover, and she didn't budge, and she promised him that if he doesn't get his act together, she will do everything in her power and pull all of her resources to make sure that Chase and Brooklyn get emergency custody of Violet. Now, while this is happening, Chase and Brooklyn had to bring Violet to the Q's house. Their worry, of course, was that Finn would show up to the apartment and bang on the door and have Violet be even more terrified and confused, and they didn't want that. And then Diane comes over, and they fill her in on the situation with Finn. The next day, Diane goes to Finn's house and drops off the paperwork saying that Chase and Brooklyn now have emergency custody of Violet, and also handed him a restraining order that requires him to stay at least 500 feet away from his daughter. And Finn was quite vile with her too, and as soon as she leaves, he calls a lawyer of his own, and it's Scott Baldwin. Now, when he called Scott Baldwin, I was worried that he would take the case, because let's face it, Scott's usually a bit of a slime ball, but he also stood his ground and refused to be hired by Finn, and said that he can't fix this legally, he has to fix himself, and then he leaves. It's a rare thing these days, but every now and then Scott can pop up on screen and not be a total boob. It's a rare thing, but it's a nice thing to see. This is one of those times, and he went to the hospital also to check on Elizabeth and say, you can talk to me, right? Because he feels upset that Elizabeth didn't come to him for any of this, and that he had to hear it from someone else. Because Scott still sees Elizabeth as family. She's Franco's widow. It is what it is. And then he also, by the way, touches base on his past drinking problem, which I forgot about. But he had a bit of a drinking problem once Luke and Laura got together in the 80s. And also Lee had a drinking problem too, which I didn't know about. So it runs in his own family. So he has a bit of an idea just how far Finn could potentially fall. Not that it matters anymore. Yeah, the alcoholism, yeah. Angel, you said, I don't understand how Finn to rehab works as a long-term exit. I'll touch into that because that's kind of, I have notes on that as well. I don't think they're gonna recast Finn, but I'll explain what I think is gonna happen in just a bit. Once we get kind of past or get to the point where we talk about him checking himself into rehab. But yeah, so Finn has his rock bottom moment after Scott leaves his apartment. He gets booze delivered with him, which if you guys remember, Alexis mentioned that to Finn the other day or last week. He is almost ready to have a drink, but then he looks at the paperwork as soon as he opens the bottle, and he decides not to drink it. He just smashes it against the wall. He had 2 vodka bottles. He smashed them both against the wall, and then he stormed out of his house to get some fresh air. And where did he end up? The bench, of course, in the outside actual park. And Finn, or sorry, not Finn, Chase happened to be there as well. And they had like a good heart-to-heart. Finn definitely see where drinking has got him. And he ultimately decides to check himself into rehab on one condition, that he gets to see Violet one more time and say his goodbye, basically. And he does, and damn, let me tell you, I actually cried. I actually cried for Finn and Violet, who beyond this story for Finn, I don't really care for him either way. But Michael Easton and Joffiel Love, holy crap, they were doing so good. And I was especially impressed with Joffiel because, first of all, she's so young. She's like 10 years old. And I feel like I'm so used to seeing the writers, whoever they are, constantly try to make her like the next Emma. Because Emma, she had this adorable sort of aura about her, that she was always just like cutesy, yes, absolutely spoiled. And I feel like they for many years tried to emulate that with Violet, and it just didn't work. But when they give Joffiel like actual material where she has to do stuff beyond act cute and act spoiled, damn. Seeing the tears come out of Joffiel's face, like, holy crap, what a good little actress. I don't know, I was just really impressed. And it broke me. It really did. I think we talked about it on Wednesday, but yeah, it really broke me. But yeah. They said their goodbyes, and then Chase drives him to the rehab center. And then they say their final goodbyes, which I guess is Michael Easton's final scenes. And like I said, it sucks that they're making him leave now that they're actually giving him compelling material to work with. But now we get to what happens next. We know that Michael Easton is not coming back. So what's going to happen with Violet? Is Violet just going to be parentless inevitably for the rest of her life? Or will Michael Easton make one more appearance to, I don't know, maybe come get Violet and say that they're moving out of Port Charles. He just doesn't want to be where there's so many sad memories, and he just wants to start fresh. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. And even if they do decide to go that route, they don't necessarily have to have Michael Easton on for that either. We could just one day see that Violet has left the Q's and she's living with Finn since he moved into his new place, wherever that may be. Like, they could do that. So, because you're right, the rehab thing is only supposed to be 90 days. Presumably we just watched his last scenes. So I guess at this point the writers have about 3 months to decide what to do with Violet. I feel like they might want to keep her because she is the cutesy little character. There's no other kids really on the show right now, so it's hard to tell. Hard to tell. We'll find out eventually, but probably not till the fall. But yeah, Angel. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think they're gonna recast Finn. They're certainly not gonna recast Finn. I think that they'll either bring him back for a guest appearance to take Violet away, or just have Violet go away off screen and then have it explained later. De Havilland said Dion wasn't Sam pregnant by Sonny, then Sam was messed with Jason, and then they married and divorced. And then she thought Billy Miller was Jason and had that baby. Oh no, the first baby was baby Lila. The second baby is that she had with Drew's Jason is Scout, Emily Scout. Yeah, you think that it'll just disappear off screen? I think that's what will be the case too. I don't know. I guess in terms of seeing this as like characters in the TV show, I do feel genuinely awful for Violet because, you know, she didn't have a mother figure and now her father figure is gone for at least 3 months. And she's just been tossed around from like caregiver to caregiver with no stability. I do appreciate that Tracy, you know, was speaking from the heart and wanting Violet to have a stable living situation. And being in the Q house would certainly give her that for the most part until they squabble. But I think that they'll just keep them out of the house for that. Chase and Brooklyn have to contend with possibly moving into the Q family since what was I going to say? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Since their apartment is small, they can't really have Violet in there with them. So the alternative is to have them move into the Q's. It's big enough. There's lots of kids, lots of adults to take care of her. Lots of maternal energy, Brooklyn said. And then Chase was like, did Tracy call herself paternal? And she's like, nope. She said everyone but her. Hayden is still hiding over Valentine, which is damn sad. But you know who's been hiding out longer than Hayden? Is the person that carried Lulu's baby. What's her name? Claudette. She's still in hiding somewhere too. And Charlotte don't even know about it. And Charlotte loved that woman, Claudette, as far as we knew. The quote-unquote, maternal energy between, like, Monica and Olivia and Lois and, Willow, Sasha. But not Tracy. Now, I guess, before we end things here, the only other noteworthy thing that I feel like happened this week was that Mac visited Cody at the stables, and he apologized to him for thinking he was a con man, when his whole family literally sees Cody as a hero. And he also made a comment on Sasha and Cody dating, although they denied it for whatever reason. Not that Mac bought it, but still, I don't know. Let's just get this secret out in the open. Let's just discuss it, like, because it's essentially the last story lingering from the previous writing team, or the previous writing team, I suppose. Let's just get to it. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid. I just want it over with. Let him know, and then go from there. Whatever Mac feels about it. I feel like Mac will be angry that Cody didn't tell him the truth, but I also think that Mac will ultimately get over it. And I think that Felicia and Maxie and, of course, James will all be sort of advocates for Cody if he gets to the point where he doesn't want to associate with him. Because, you know, at the end of the day, that is his dad and that is his son. So get it out in the open. Let's just do this story. That's how I feel right now. We don't need the slow burn. We had half a year without Mac. Let's get to it. Obviously it's not Mac's fault. John York had cancer. He beat it. He's back. Let's get to it. That's how I feel. Angel, you said I'm bored with that story. Yeah, like that's where I'm at too. Like, because it had to be backburned for so long, this should be as speedy as Finn's sobriety falling apart has been. It should be just as speedy. We shouldn't be sitting here for another month worrying about, the back and forth. But yeah, that's all I have in my notes, and that was GH in a nutshell. I don't think I left out anything too important that actually moved story. I mean, we did see like Gio play violin again, or pop into certain scenes to be like, I'm gonna play violin outside. Like, riveting stuff. But yeah, y'all, that wraps it up. I will be on this Wednesday. I have no idea what we're gonna watch, if anything at all. But we'll definitely hang out. We'll do a live stream for sure, and maybe if we don't find anything classic to watch, we'll just chit chat about the show thus far this week. And then, like I mentioned at the start of the stream, I am going out of town for most of the weekend, but it will not affect the Sunday show because I will be back Saturday night, so we're good. I'm literally going up for a day. I'm going up for a day just to see a Spice Girl be a DJ. But I haven't seen Sporty Spice since I was 11, okay? I am 33. It's about time I go see her again. And she ain't even singing her song. She's just DJing. She's a DJ now. She's still also a singer. But for this particular event, she's DJing. And I have to go to Calgary, which is about 3 hours away from here. Taking the bus to get there. I can do a 3-hour bus ride. I do a 4-hour flight to get to Montreal, so this will be a piece of cake, I hope. The only downside is that in Calgary right now, their main water pipe has been broken for weeks. So, like, the water is scarce, and I'm hoping it'll be fixed by Friday, but I don't know. But I'm there for a day, so, like, worst case scenario, I'll shower in the morning before I take the bus. Here in town where the water is running, and then I'll go to the DJ set, go to bed, wake up, catch the bus, and shower when I get home. I'll bring deodorant. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know if you guys have anything more to add. How's the weather there in Edmonton? Actually, today it's pretty rainy. It's rainy today. But it was hot as hell yesterday and the day before. So I think we're just in normal summer weather now, which is fine. I like gloomy, rainy days, so I am here for the rain. And honestly, like last summer, we had so many wildfires. I will take as much rain as it takes. I will take a rainy summer over a smoky one, truthfully. But we're not really getting a rainy summer. We're just getting rain sometimes. And I'm okay with that. We love balance here. But yeah, it was hot as balls yesterday and the day before. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I'm excited to perform again in August. It's crazy. I've gotten multiple show offers recently as well to do in the summer, but I've had to turn them down, which is crazy. Only because one show offer was the day after the show that's already been announced, the August 30th one. So, and promoters, they don't like having people play concerts too close to each other because it's like it kind of splits the revenue. Because, hey, if I can't make it to the show on the 30th, I'll just go to the show on the 31st. Whereas, well, if I'm only performing in this one show, then my fans, which is weird to say fans, will go to that show instead of picking one. So yeah, it's interesting learning like the logistics of everything, and some of that I did actually learn last year too when I started doing the music promotion company that I've been working with. I put that to the side, the back burner once I kind of got offers to actually form a band and do some shows. Whether I go back to it, still up in the air. I think the offer is there if I want it, but I haven't decided yet because if I'm still getting offers, that means this band thing is actually doing all right. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope that we get a start date for Jonathan Jackson. I don't think he started shooting yet, but I hope that we see him before the end of summer. And I'm sure we'll see Morgan, I think, at the end of July or something. I forget who mentioned Frisco earlier. I would love for that to be true, personally. I don't think it is, but I would love it. They had Mac and Frisco talk and work together outside of Port Charles. So I want to see how that translates on an on-screen situation with Frisco and Felicia and Mac and Maxie. Because it's time to heal that part of the family too. But yeah, I think I'll end this one here, you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked this live stream, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give it a big old thumbs up. I would be very appreciative of it. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, y'all. So if y'all know, if there's anyone that's watching that hasn't subscribed, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. I want to get to 1,000. I want to get to 1K. That's the goal. I will make it an end of year goal. Just because I don't want to set the bar too high. It's a possibility, but I would really appreciate it. It would be really cool. All right. See you guys Wednesday. Have a good rest of your weekend. If I do have any Canadian viewers, enjoy the rest of your long weekend. I have to work tomorrow, so only because I will be gone next weekend. That's why. The OG deadbeat, Frisco. Time to undeadbeat him and get him back into his family's good graces. All right, yeah. Good night, y'all. Mwah.